Hi everyone, I am back for another review, and I'll be reviewing the movie Oppenheimer. It stars Cillian Murphy as J. Robert Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer, for those of you that don't know, was an American scientist who led to the contribution of the nuclear bomb. It starts off as Oppenheimer um, as a young student at Cambridge University, but overwhelmed with being a little homesick and with a little anxiety, he decides to go back to America once he's done school. And there, within a few years, he gets a job at UC Berkeley, where he teaches students nuclear fusion and nuclear fission. And during that time, he gains prominence in the university. He is befriended by people like Albert Einstein, and Einstein essentially recruits him to be a part of the Manhattan Project, which is what led to the nuclear bomb that eventually bombed, which the U.S. eventually bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And there and during that time, understanding the severity of the nuclear bomb, he tries to end it, Oppenheimer. But um, being being in the middle of a war, he was not really comfortable expressing that point of view. But that was a point of view that he always had at the back of his head. And the movie essentially uh, documents his life as a scientist, working to help the U.S. fight the war, but also not being personally happy with the nuclear bomb, as it can kill a lot of people. And and the FBI and all these various law enforcement agencies are kind of keeping tabs on him, because they already have a feeling that Oppenheimer might be a communist, which in those days, in the 40s and the 50s, and that's the era that this movie takes place. Communism and all that or speaking out was kind of frowned upon, and it essentially documents his life. Robert Downey Jr. stars in the movie. Matt Damon stars in the movie. There are some interesting sex scenes. I have to say, Christopher Nolan really uses creativity when he directed some of those scenes, which I implore you guys to watch if you guys haven't watched the movie. And after the war, Oppenheimer still is a teacher, but now he is over. Uh, he is a guy, I must say, that's speaking out against nuclear power, and he meets Harry Truman, which there's a scene in the movie, and he also meets. He's awarded a medal by President Lyndon Johnson. So he meets two U.S. presidents in the movie. He met President Truman shortly after the war, and he met President Johnson a few years down the line. So, and that essentially is the movie. It documents his love life. It documents his internal struggle to speak out, but also at the same time not putting himself too far out there, because he can be seen as someone that is disloyal or a communist, which is something that a lot of was frowned upon in the U.S. at the time, and pretty much all over the Western world. It is a really long movie. Certainly an Oscar-worthy performance by Cillian Murphy. Christopher Nolan did a great job, as he usually does with these sort of movies, in Dark Knight and whatnot. Uses creativity. And I must say, Matt Damon and Robert Downey Jr. also play some interesting parts as well. It is an interesting movie. Check it out, Oppenheimer.